Let me say something most folks have never heard said out loud. The biggest risk in retirement isn't losing money, it's running out of it. And the two are not the same thing. Today's word for financial jargon, episode 14, is risk. Risk is just the chance that something doesn't go the way that you're counting on it to go. That's it. But here's the part that changes everything when it comes to retirement. The version of didn't go right that actually matters is very specific. See, your financial jargon guy, the guy at the big Wall Street firm with the cufflinks and the fancy suit, might say, risk is the measurable probability that an actual investment outcome will deviate from the expected outcome, typically quantified through standard deviation, beta, or value at risk metrics. Yeah, okay. What does that even mean? What's he really saying? Because I believe that in retirement, you face three different kinds of risk. Most folks know the first one, but almost nobody has ever heard the third one explained. So you're going to want to stick with us here because the third one is the absolute most important. Now, risk number one, everybody knows about. It's the obvious one, right? That's the market drops. Your account value drops. Everybody's keenly aware of this one. We start talking about 2007, 2008, or if you're like me and you go way back, we start talking about, 2000, 2001, 2002. It's real, but it's actually the least scary of the three. If you have time on your side, if you're well diversified, if you have a plan so that your income needs tomorrow don't plan on the stock market going up year after year after year. Now, risk two you may have heard of, and this is a corollary risk, right? And that is inflation risk, the risk to our purchasing power. This is a quiet one, although perhaps not so quiet in the last several months at least, right? And certainly the last few years post-COVID. It just basically says, hey, your dollars, the money that you have, buys less and less every single year. We talked about this in episode 11. But over a 30-year retirement, this risk can be just as damaging as a market drop. It just doesn't show up on a statement. You don't see that your value declined by 4% this year. Nevertheless, inflation is robbing you of that purchasing power. So we cannot forget about inflation risk or let it be supplanted by the risk of the market. Now, risk three, this is one you perhaps haven't heard of, maybe you have in passing, and this is called sequence of returns risk. This is the one almost nobody's ever heard explained, and it's not about whether the market drops. It's about when. You see, a 30% drop at age 80, that's recoverable. You're past most of the expenditures for your retirement. But a 30% drop in your first year or two of retirement while you're also withdrawing money to live on, that can permanently damage your plan. Same drop, same percentage, but it's a completely different outcome. Now, most people don't think about sequence of returns because we've been in this mode where, hey, I'm just putting money into my 401k and the market always comes back. It always recovers and I'm in a much better spot. Yeah, because you're a net buyer. You're putting money in. The math all changes when you're withdrawing. Because when you're withdrawing from an account that's already down, you're essentially locking in those losses. You're selling those shares at exactly the wrong moment, and the math almost never catches up. There's simply not enough left after a withdrawal and a market decline. There's not enough remaining assets to both continue to satisfy your withdrawal needs for your lifestyle and recover those losses even though the market bounces back. That is sequence of returns risk. And it's the biggest reason that the first 5 years of your retirement matter more than any other 5. Oh, by the way, there's one more risk, maybe the biggest one of all, but most folks fear it the least, and it's called longevity risk. The risk that you live a long, healthy, wonderful life, which is a beautiful thing. And, oh, by the way, it's also a financial event that requires careful planning, because every additional year you live is another year of expenses that your plan has to cover. So here's the question you can sit with today. If the market dropped 30% in the first year of your retirement while you're taking income from it, would your plan still work? Or would the next 25 years look very, very different? And I don't say that to be fear-mongering. That's not it at all. I say it because you've got to have an understanding of the possibility. We get into this recency bias because the market's been good for the last few years that we forget about the significant risk that is inherent in the stock market, not to mention even magnified after several good years. So could it happen? Absolutely. I'm not talking about something that is completely unrealistic. I'm talking about being prepared for any eventuality. That's what a good plan does. A good plan is a framework. It's the process whereby you can make informed, smart decisions when life happens. So risk in retirement isn't a number on a statement. It's not a hypothetical about how would you feel if the market were to drop 20%. It's about, hey, what does the math look like? It's a question really about your lifestyle. It's not really ever about the money. It's about how it impacts your lifestyle. The right plan doesn't eliminate risk. Nothing can do that, right? It just makes sure that the wrong plan isn't the one that ends up mattering. If you're not sure which risks your current plan actually protects you from, well, that's a conversation worth having. At Tekton Wealth Advisors, we serve people, not products. I'm Darren Vilardo, the founder of Tekton Wealth Advisors, and we're excited to be able to have a conversation with you about your particular situation, where you think the holes in your retirement plan might be. Reach out, let's connect and have a conversation. Now, next time, we're going to talk about the other side of the coin. Aside from what can go wrong, we're going to talk about what we're actually trying to capture when we accept any risk at all, and that is what we call returns. We hope you'll return to the channel again and again and again for more information and education about your retirement. Thank you so much, and God bless.